May now request Mr. Correa to deliver our thank welcome.
Following the conclusion of the ACP last year, we launched the Agricultural Journal. A few months back, we also launched the...
All related, all contained in this manual. So I hope we are going to use it as a guide.
Kalau nggak to the ministry, kalau nggak to the manual, and this will bring hope to all the farmers in Fiji. It's an honor for me to this evening to officiate at the launching of the Fiji Farm Management Budget Manual 2014. This manual is an initiative by our ministry, among others, as part of government's efforts to modernize the agriculture sector and improve our service delivery to all Fijians. On the 1st of August this year, the Fiji Agriculture Sector Policy Agenda 2020, with the theme Modernizing Agriculture, was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. The Policy Agenda 2020 maps out the strategic direction that the agriculture sector needs to take if we are to make a difference in the livelihood of the people that we serve. You will also note that the policy agenda has been determined in the context of the current economic climate and opportunities that currently exist while we are focusing and forecasting into the future. Let me advise you that the policy is a mere document that needs to be put into action through the implementation of programs and projects that will benefit the ordinary Fijian. It is the duty of every government officer sitting in this room to identify constraints beyond the ordinary farmer's control that is limiting his or her from reaching full potential. The identification of constraints and potential of different agricultural industries, both in crops and livestock, should be revealed in farming systems and value chain analysis. These constraints, analysis of farming systems and value chain should be the basis for formulation of industry plans that will guide us to determining development priorities. The Fiji Farm Management Budget Manual 2014 that will be launched this evening is part of our ministry's efforts to improve our database and bring back a systematic approach in developing and disseminating relevant and appropriate technologies to our farmers in Fiji. It is about time that we ask ourselves some pertinent questions. Are we satisfied with our level of performance? How are we advising our farmers? Are we systematic in our approach and in our advice, making a difference to the lives, farmers and communities? Is our advice based on verifiable data and on the findings of our researchers and on actual achievements of farmers taken from their record books? The agriculture sector used to be the backbone of the country in the past and the biggest contributor of around 20% of GDP as opposed to around 9% that we see to date. In addition to that, the sector has now been overtaken by the manufacturing and tourism sectors as the biggest source of foreign exchange and employment generation to our community. As I did share with you this afternoon, although our contribution to GDP is a mere 9 to 10%, however, we engage about 70% of the labor force in Fiji. Incidence of poverty in rural Fiji is high, and if we need to address poverty, particularly in the rural areas, let us concentrate on agriculture, because the majority of our people depend on agriculture for their livelihood. And that is why the role that you and I play is so important. And let me assure you that government is providing all the necessary assistance and backing to ensure that we will achieve as expected of our government. However, Let me also mention that with the increasing rate of unemployment, with over 12,000 youths entering the job market annually, government recognizes that there is no other sector that could absorb and provide employment opportunities better than the agricultural sector. Government is committed to alleviating poverty and improving the livelihood of the rural people of Fiji, as stipulated in the People's Charter, and of course the strategic framework for change. According to the latest household income and expenditure survey report, most of our rural people are living below the poverty line. It is an anomaly that needs to be reversed, given the abundance of unutilized land and untapped resources in Fiji. I always say that there is supposed to be no poor Fijian. Some are irresponsible, some probably are lazy as well, but the majority of people do not realize the abundance of opportunities that are available in Fiji. Our rural people are only poor because they are treating farming as just a way of life, rather than a business with clear goals and targets. This Farm Management Budget Manual 2014 is part of our commitment to making a difference in the livelihood of the people. This should be used as a tool by extension officers and farmers in the formulation of proposed farm business plans and better farm plans. On this note, I must thank the Farm Management section for coordinating the preparation of the manual and all divisions for contributing to the review of the technical and financial parts of the Fiji Farm Management Budget Manual 2014, as that will be critical in developing farming systems and the adoption of FSD approach. This farming systems development concept, or the whole farm approach, has been adopted in most developed countries where livelihoods are dependent on their natural resources. These countries, if I may name a few, like India, China, Vietnam, have reaped the benefits of achieving the desired development results. Generally, for Fiji, we have failed to fully adopt this approach since its introduction in the early 80s, and is evident from the lack of understanding and appreciation of farm management principles by our extension officials and of course farmers as well. This has also contributed to the dependency syndrome plaguing the rural farming communities, resulting in their continuous requests for assistance in the direct costs. It is an indication that farming is just a way of life and not a business. In the Ministry of Agriculture, projects proposal submitted under the demand-driven approach and other capital programs should be focused on addressing farmers' constraints. As mentioned by the farm management team, these constraints, and as I have stated earlier, should be those beyond the farmer's control or capability. Government interventions or projects should be identified to address these specific constraints. These constraints should be coming out clearly through farming systems analysis. It should be properly practiced in the Ministry of Agriculture and by those other players outside the ministry. An intervention designed to address constraints by rural communities should comply with the standard procedures now shown in the manual. In my view, there is no other better tool available to extension officers for use in advising farmers systematically and holistically other than the farming systems analysis process shown in the manual. The first step is the resource inventory, which when properly analyzed will clearly show constraints that are limiting the production system. When solutions are identified and alternative analysis carried out to determine the best combinations, this will form the basis of the proposed better farm plan. This is the process that all extension officers are now required to follow in advising farmers. It is all in the manual. Better farm plans must be based on verifiable FSD data that should be properly documented using the farm management manual and verified by those involved in technology generation, that is research. When farms are done without alternative analysis, the opportunity costs to the farmers are not properly analyzed to ensure the maximizing of profits to the farming business. Why should we waste the farmers' time if we cannot show them anything better than what they are currently doing? Farmers deserve the best advice, and any advice offered should be analyzed in the context of how it will influence the profitability of their business. The farming systems development approach has been advocated for decades by FAO. However, the Ministry of Agriculture has somehow not fully adopted the requirements. On the contrary, has bogged itself with a commodity approach in development of prioritized crops with significant market opportunities. This has resulted in our narrow focus with regards to commodity development, where monocropping has been encouraged, even though this has proven unsustainable over the years. The Ministry of Agriculture officers must also realize that the farming systems development approach requires the integration of relevant stakeholders. This basically addresses the technology transfer process, which requires the input by all divisions, including research and extension, crop and livestock, economic planning and statistics, land use planning, and farm management. The revised 2014 Farm Management Manual contains both the technical and financial information and related references. In light of the technical details, there are 61 crops and 10 livestock and fisheries commodities provided. As for the financial gross margin analysis, only 48 crops and 7 livestock commodities are provided, and it is expected that users will use those examples to work out commodity combinations of their choices. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude. Again, the 2014 Fiji Farm Management Manual would help farmers and planners in making the right choices of investment. It is vital that farmers are aware of the changes and the existing opportunities that are shown in the manual, and they should be responsive in order to reap the benefits. Agriculture in Fiji needs to have a farm management manual that should be continuously updated and accessible to stakeholders, from the agriculture student in the university, the officer in the ministry, the farmer in the field, exporter in the market, and the consumer at home. We need to be speaking on the same wavelength. I would like to commend the farm management section of the ministry for taking the initiative of coordinating the production of this manual in collaboration with our stakeholders and reintroducing a manual that was first established in 1978. They used to provide farm management lecturers to Fiji College of Agriculture in the 80s and provided scholarships to the section in the past. The last beneficiary of that scholarship played an important role in the production of the 2014 Farm Management Manual. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, we have been again offered places by the New Zealand government. I am not sure whether management has responded, but we should be responding to them by Monday, and I hope that that will be done if that has not been done, so that we fully utilize the opportunity that has been offered to us by the New Zealand government. So for those of you that are working hard, you'll probably be the first choice for the New Zealand training. It is my sincere wish and hope that we will continue to develop this manual to help improve the quality of our service delivery to the rural farmers and in our efforts to develop commercial farmers in Fiji. I therefore have much pleasure in launching the Fiji Farm Management Manual 2014. May God bless Fiji and the ministry. Tunawa levu dhanyavad. That's all.